I would have had no thoughts when she came sitting next to me.
Hi,
Like, ma'am, you
I'm
all right?
Diana, and I live in the United
Diana, what's that
States.
in the back?
About our childhood.
You remember
laughing
back when
about
you
our
was
old
one,
home,
buddy?
and
I barely can
furniture,
remember
and a
when I was
small
5.
dusty-
What is YouTube, man? Welcome back to another video of short horror animated stories. Now, these are all in one. These are made by Wansi Entertainment, and these are 3 true horror stories animated. So, they might be true, bro. Might be just go ahead and clickbaiting, but yeah, let's get straight to it.
This is not my story, but my grandfather's. This incident happened in Tijuana,
That's your
Mexico,
grandfather?
in the
How old
late
is he,
70s, when my grandfather was in his late teens. One evening, he decided to go to the movies alone. He arrived at the theater,
I would
bought
never go
his
to the
ticket,
movies
and
alone.
sat down in the theater. While
Never
he was
in my
watching
life
the movie,
will I
for
ever.
some reason, he decided to look around. That's when he noticed this woman sitting nearby. They looked at each other for a moment.
Okay, little
And
Taylor
the
Swift.
woman walked
Ooh.
over and sat down next to my grandfather. They started holding hands, and
Wow,
then,
off the
drawn
first
by
look?
the strange atmosphere, they started kissing. Meanwhile, he noticed that she was
Off the first
unnaturally
look?
cold. He gave her his jacket as a friendly gesture, and soon
Not me.
the movie was over.
She would just have
They
been
were
cold.
planning to walk across the street to a bar, but she said that she needed to use the bathroom. She told him, just wait outside the bathroom. She gave him his jacket back and gave him a ring, saying that she was actually homeless. My grandfather was a
Yeah,
little taken aback, but
she
he didn't
capped
think
out.
much
She
of
capped
it
out. Nah,
and
I
decided to
would've
wait
left.
outside the bathroom as she had said. But 5 minutes
No, I probably
passed,
would've waited.
and she still hadn't come out of the bathroom.
Oh yeah, no,
My
10 minutes I'm
grandfather
gone.
watched all the other women come out of the bathroom except for that woman. And after 10 minutes, she still hadn't come out.
Oh yeah, I'm going.
He
After
went
that
to the
one.
manager, asked if he had seen anyone like that woman in the bathroom. The manager told my grandfather that he had never seen anyone like that. My grandfather insisted that the manager go and check. When the
Yeah,
manager
somebody
checked,
else go check.
the woman was not in the bathroom.
Yeah,
My
I'm just
grandfather
going
was
home.
about to give up looking for her, but then he remembered that during a conversation with the woman earlier, she'd mentioned that she worked at the bar that they were going to go to. So my grandfather decided to leave the theater, walked to the bar, smoked a cigarette, and looked around. He met the
I wouldn't want to know
bartender,
about- I'm going
asked
home.
him about the woman, and the bartender said that he didn't know any women like that working there, and that he would ask the owner. After
I
a few
would've
minutes,
been
the
heading
owner approaches my
home.
grandfather, asks again, who was he looking for? My grandfather described the woman again, and suddenly, the owner's face changed.
What's up with you,
His
boy?
expression became solemn. He looked at my grandfather as if he were crazy. Then my grandfather showed him the ring that she had given him in the theater, and the owner looked shocked. He told my grandfather that it couldn't be true. My grandfather asked what he meant by that, and the owner told him the woman had been murdered about a year ago. My grandfather was shocked, left the bar, and went home. This incident
That's why
stuck
you don't
in
do
his
certain
memory.
stuff, man.
He
Just
still
go
thinks
home.
about it sometimes. Sometimes he doubts the situation, tells himself that the owner just thought of the wrong woman. But then he remembers the ring he showed the owner couldn't be another woman. He doesn't know if it was a spirit of some kind, a doppelganger,
Buddy.
but all he knows is that the girl he met that night
Ooh.
was not a normal human being. Also, the fact that she was unusually cold still makes him uneasy. He still thinks about what happened that night.
I would have had no thoughts when she came sitting next to me. I was
Hi,
like, ma'am, you
I'm
all right?
Diana, and I live in the United
Diana,
States.
what's that in the back?
This happened in Massachusetts, and
Yeah,
is one of the reasons I became a horror junkie, because the paranormal seemed to follow me throughout my childhood. Everything I'm about to say is the truth, exactly as I remember it. Most of my childhood
She's
is a
white.
blur, but this memory has never faded. I think we all struggle to recall much of when we were babies. It feels like an extended period of nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, there's one thing I remember with absolute clarity.
What was you
When I
just
was
born?
a baby, up until I was 2, my family lived in the basement of a stranger's house.
How
We
did
had
you know
almost
that?
nothing, just a mattress on the floor,
This
2
makes you think it's
cabinets,
fake.
and a few pieces of
I
sparse
can't- I
furniture
barely can
in a
remember when I
small,
was
dusty
5.
room. My
wasn't
parents
even
were
5.
immigrants, and we were just getting by. The details of that space are hazy now, but what happened at night is something I'll never forget. Every evening, my loving, protective parents would tuck my sister and I onto the mattress while they took the floor.
At the
The
age of
lights
2?
would go out, and one by one we would fall asleep. But in the middle of the night, I would wake up, and every time
Oh, the boy, okay.
I saw them, big, white hands. like those of a mime reaching out from beneath the
Yeah,
cabinet.
that's because you weren't really too much
hands
into the
moved
world
with
yet.
deliberate motions, drawing shapes in the air, waving, beckoning. I remember staring, transfixed. Sometimes I would reach out, trying to touch them, but before I could, my mother would stir, pull me back, and lull me to
That's your
sleep.
mama, boy. I
This
thought y'all
happened
was in the
over
crib.
and over. I remember those hands so vividly. They looked normal, but they weren't. And what disturbed me the most was that I never saw who or what they were attached to. When I was 2, we moved into a real home, leaving that basement for good.
You were 1?
And somehow, the memories of the hands faded, buried under the warmth of a new life.
Buddy.
Until I turned 14 years old.
Buddy.
That day, my older sister and I were reminiscing about our childhood.
You remember back when you was 1, buddy?
Until she asked me,
"Did you ever see those hands?"
I froze. My stomach dropped.
"What?"
Oh, yeah.
I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated before continuing.
"The hands that came from under the cabinet at night. The white ones, they would reach for us."
My heart pounded. I felt like I couldn't breathe. How did she see them too? I had spent years convincing myself they weren't real, that they were just the overactive imagination of a child. But she saw them as well. We sat there, shaken, trading details. How they moved, how they looked, how we never saw a body attached to them. Was that basement haunted? Were those hands trying to take us? Later, I did some research, and I found something chilling. Many people have reported seeing similar hands during childhood, but not white ones. Theirs were green or black.
Yeah, I gotta look that up, bro.
This is a scary incident that happened to me when I was a college student. I remember it was the day
some
after
realistic
Halloween,
stuff now.
and I was a freshman. You'll soon find out why I remember this. I remember waking up late in the morning, having to get up quickly to get to campus for my chemistry lab. My roommate was probably disturbed
back in 25
as
years.
I kept making noise and rushing to head out. Since no buses would come at this time, I had no choice but to walk all the way to campus, which is like a 10 to 15 minute walk from my dorm.
Ain't that bad.
As I was walking on the street, it was quiet. There weren't that many students around, especially after a Halloween weekend. I'm not surprised. As I made my way uphill, I suddenly saw a large, tall man wearing what looked to be a Scream Ghostface costume, staring at an old homeless man that
Halloween was 3 weeks ago.
His blanket on a bench. I was taken aback, since Halloween was over now, and now that classes have resumed, it's a bit odd seeing this man dressed up at such early time in the morning. At first, I didn't know what to make of it, knowing I had to hurry to my lab to be allowed inside, so I didn't pay much attention.
Stopping though, like.
However, something felt off.
His business is his business, and it ain't mine.
This guy with the Scream Ghostface costume kept staring at me as I made my way closer to campus. I kept looking back, and he kept standing next to the homeless man, staring at me. That's time
I would have been gone.
Very long.
Straight to the dorm.
I felt uneasy that if I kept looking at him, he would come towards me. So I thought I should hurry to the lab.
Oh, I would have heard as soon as them footsteps would have started walking.
I suddenly felt this chill down my spine. When I turned around, the homeless man and the Ghostface man were gone. I was shocked. Could two people just disappear in such a short amount of time? Panicking, I ran towards campus, headed inside, afraid of this incident. What was even weirder is that after a couple of days later, the homeless man that's always sleeping on this bench never returned. A couple of students that I've talked to apparently said he was taken by the police for disturbing the peace, but I know that can't be true. Even so, my excitement towards Halloween has always been disturbed by this incident, even to this day.
Wow. Well, those are some pretty, I mean, the second one was like non-believable to me. You were 1 years old when you remember that? Stop it, buddy. Not 1 year old remembering that, dog. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a short video, like really, really short video, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next animation video. Peace.